condition is really crazy condition.
And that shouldn't give away the whole secret to professional windsurfing.
Matteo Iachino giving Antoine Albo a run for his money. Here we go. What a finish.
The guy is kind of talking bullshit.
The team's just got to work a little harder. Welcome to the Windsurfing Podcast, back again for episode 36. And this week we've got a PWA Slalom Vice World Champion. They've been dicing with the podiums for most of their career, but has more recently ventured into the waves, which they are loving, and also the Olympic discipline. Well, the new Olympic discipline, the IQ foil. We're going to talk about training, the debut on the PWA Tour in the first place. We're also going to talk about Luderitz and the Luderitz Speed Challenge and how they were actually very close to a world record-breaking run. What else are we going to talk about? We'll talk about working for Starboard, which is a new thing. And we're also going to be talking about equal prize money for women in the sport. Who is it? Well, it is, of course, Lena Erdil.
Lena, how you doing?
Good, thanks. And you?
Yeah. I'm all right. Listen, there's a bit of a theme throughout this podcast with people. A lot of the people I interview, it turns out that they have very interesting backgrounds or very, mixed roots or whatever. And you're like the leader of that, I think, in terms of, Turkish, German, lived in Belgium, studied in England. Do you think it's there is a connection between like choosing, the path of a pro windsurfer and, just growing up already kind of traveling the world and changing places and whatever, or you never thought about it?
Yeah, I never actually thought about it, but it's probably true that for somebody that is not as rooted in one place, it's easier to kind of choose that path of traveling all year or all life.
Yeah. And your parents were both windsurfers. I mean, like they windsurfed both. And when you started, was it obvious that this is something you might want to pursue, or not at all?
Not really at all, actually. I mean, my dad actually always wanted me to, I guess. But at some point when I was like 10, 11, 12, still I was not really that into it. I was more like wanting to lie on the beach reading books all day. But then eventually I got into it. I guess it's just starting to go faster. Of course, it was feeling amazing. I learned windsurfing in Alachati, where it was like flat water, and we were always spending the entire summer holidays in Turkey. So that was like 1.5 months of like every year being at a windsurfing center in like, a perfect learning spot. So then I think when I did my first competition, then I really, really got into it. So because I noticed that I was actually quite good at it. And obviously I like that feeling that, you get confidence from being like one of the best at something. So even if it's just like a little local race. Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know if you remember, but I guess that's around that time we met. You remember?
This was later.
Totally randomly. We met in Egypt I don't know how it actually came together, because I was just there with the Polish guys and somehow like you just rocked up there.
I was there with Bruno, the Wannemaker, and his son, Nick, because at the time we were living in Belgium. So that's later. I think I was maybe 16 then.
Oh,
so
already
I was
16. Okay.
Yeah, I think I was already living in Brussels, and this was maybe like an Easter holiday. And my parents had met Bruno, who was IFCA president, and obviously very into windsurfing, and his son as well. So his son was still competing also in Formula and doing some wave competition. And I think my dad somehow managed to give Bruno the responsibility to take care of me in a training camp. So I was there, and yeah, you guys were there on a training camp, and that was actually for me to try to do Formula. So I went on the Formula board, I think, once in Egypt, and then I decided that was not for me.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit like with the RSX, where I went on it like twice. I was like, not doing this to myself with this huge board going downwind. This is not fun. Why would anyone do this? And yeah, that was my course racing experience.
In a pill. Yeah. But so this was I think this was 2005. I'm not so sure. Maybe. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
In 2006, you already kind of had your international little, debut at 17 years old, and in Alachati, which also, I guess, helps to have, a PWA. And I think it was joined with an IFCA at that time at your kind of place that, as you said, you were coming for holidays and whatever. What struck you the most? What's the thing, like, if you had to say like one thing you remember from that event, from that first experience?
Yeah, that was the first time that I met many of the international girls. So I think it was like, there was also quite a big girls fleet, as I remember it, or well, maybe it was 20 or something like that.
Yeah, was always good for that it was just so inviting.
So it was really interesting to, like, on your home spot, you after a little while, all the girls who are there, and of course you compete with them, but all of a sudden you see all these other girls that are doing like the same as you're doing, and like it's a whole new challenge and motivation to think, wow, these are the girls that I'm going to compete against, and that was something. And of course it was my home spot, so I knew the place, and like I was probably tuned in. I mean, not that I knew about what tuning was back then, but I could sail on the spot. And then you met all the stars. Like, I remember we were meeting like Karen Yagi and Patrick Dietheim for the first time, and like they were already helping me. I remember them telling me how to like tune my foot straps on the boards. I was riding F2 back then, and it was just a really cool experience to meet this whole world, I guess.
And you said you were quite good in taking confidence from national races and stuff. So how was it like a bit of a spanking? The first PWA event is always nobody wins it straight away.
Back then, I really was not that driven to win, or like, I didn't have any goals going into the competition. I wasn't gonna I really did not have any of that when I went into this competition. I was just there. So I took part, and it was exciting to see everyone. And then, like, as the race progressed, I probably saw, this girl is more or less my level. Let's try and be better than her, or something like this, It was not like I was trying to be top, I don't know what, and I didn't manage it. There was nothing like that. It was all fun.
Experience, taking it all in. But and it took you 6 years to step on the podium on PWA first time. Was it like you're pointing to it being mental and setting goals, and and really putting your mind behind it and whatever? So what did it take to get to just improve?
Exactly.
Because it's such a complicated process, I know myself. But how was it for you?
For me, it's really easy actually to answer this question. So after I finished high school, I took out 1 year. So you can do like a deferred entry. For me, it was always clear that I was going to like study university. But I still wanted to like have a year and go windsurfing a bit more than just on the summer holidays. So I had a chance that I had a sponsor at the time, so a little bit like of a financial support. And so I went to Maui for like 2 months or something, and was training there. Like I was not allowed to rent a car. And I think Jimmy still had a beachfront house, and a friend of Maika Buzianis as well. They allowed me to leave my equipment like under their house, which was like put up a bit. So every day I was like cycling from Paia to almost Camp 1 and like going windsurfing there, training, and then like, yeah, cycling back. And just by myself in Maui, pretty much. It was a bit random. Like now I'm thinking like, you know, we have this TWS training where people can just come and like train with the pros and train like a pro. But back then there was nothing like that. And like going to Maui was already like probably a really eye-opening experience, but nobody was really training slalom there. I was like going back and forth between the reef and the beach and just, you know, practicing on my own, but fully motivated. Anyway, after that, I went to Turkey and like trained a lot more in Turkey. And that year I finished fourth in the PWA event in Alachati. And then I was like, wow, okay, like if after 1 year of actually windsurfing, I can finish fourth in a PWA event. This means I probably do have potential, but yeah, I still want to study. So I went to university, and I actually, again, I was lucky with a local surf shop in Turkey who gave me a 3-year contract. And this 3-year contract would go over the whole of my university period. And the contract was that I would have 3 boards and 6 sails every year new. So like exchanging the gear I was getting. But obviously I was dependent on whatever gear the shop was having. And they were swapping around so much in the 3 years. It was a bit of making my life harder. But whatever, it was, on the other hand, I didn't have to worry about was I going to have the equipment I needed to compete, which is always, of course, a big worry when you're starting with slalom because it's a lot of equipment. And so I had that in the pocket, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to be one of these people that studies like for 10 years and like just drags it on. I'm just going to do this 3 years full on. And after that, I can always go windsurfing and still become a pro. I guess I didn't feel this pressure. Like I think a lot of young people maybe feel a lot of pressure to achieve a lot early on. So I didn't really have that. I was like, okay, if I can more or less keep this level that I have now, shown my potential, then I can maybe I can step it up for sure if I focus on it more after university. And that's exactly what I did. So that's kind of the 6 years that you were talking about. Yeah. So that was 2 more years or 1 more year of school, 1 year off, 3 years of university, and then 1 year, and I was there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I think that for sure. I think that pressure comes from, like you said, you know, a 3-year deal. It's quite rare, you know, to see these days. So I think you know, it's I think a lot of people, like you say, they feel not forced, but they feel they really want to achieve badly to climb that ladder, you know, because at first you're, like you say, you're paying for gear, or maybe you're getting, you know, like half a foot strap for free, and then, you know, it's hard. It's hard sleeping on floors, and I've done the whole bit, you know, sleeping on in equipment tents and whatever, you know. So, so yeah. But you mentioned university philosophy. Did I research that right? Did you really study philosophy?
Yeah, I studied politics and philosophy. It's like a double major.
Okay, politics. Yeah. Politics, maybe, you know, now you're on the PWA management board and working for Starboard and whatever, so maybe politics. But philosophy, I mean, couldn't you choose something?
Philosophy helps more than politics for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, couldn't you choose something a little bit closer, you know? I don't know. There might be something, but,
like I said, you know, I used to be this nerd girl preferring to read books than going out windsurfing. So I guess I do like. I like philosophy. I like reading. I like politics. I grew up in Brussels, surrounded by this kind of community of like children of diplomats, people working at the European Commission, at the Council, and so on. So it was kind of like a more natural path for me to choose than anything else.
Yeah. So then we talked podiums and this and that, and now we're in let's say going back to 2019, because 2020 we didn't race. You've been vice world champion like 1 million times.
Well, 3.
Yeah, feels like 1 million. What would it take for you think, to make that final step and win it?
Yeah, I was so motivated in 2019 to finally do it. So, because I had obviously the foot injury, and actually I had this foot injury that dragged on for 2 years because I injured my foot in New Caledonia during the last race of the season, but then kind of didn't fully recover. Did half a season with it that I managed to somehow finish second, and then broke it completely, and then was obviously out for like 1.5. And then I had the time to get ready, and last year I was training really hard for slalom. I was like, foiling was coming on, and I was still like, fuck foiling, I'm just gonna focus on slalom. I really want to do this and like get first. I want to do whatever it takes. I want to put everything into it and like, show if I can stop being always second and win it. But of course, life had other plans again with Corona. So all the training went kind of for nothing. I mean, I guess you know the feeling.
Never for nothing.
But still a little bit. For me, it felt like that with no events, and like when you put everything into it, your heart and soul. It's not. I mean, if you train now for 4 months and then you do 8 months nothing, this training is maybe not completely obsolete, but still like not fresh anymore. And the next year, you're gonna have to retune your equipment. You're gonna have to build up your body again to that level and so on.
Yeah, but I just try to never stop. And then you just keep going. But but what was the area like? Because for sure you break it down. I mean, I know that for sure you analyze what you've done right, what you've done wrong. And was there like a certain area? Was it, more like mental, more gear, more technique, more tactics? What was it that you were targeting that you said, okay, in 2020, I want to be world champion and I know how to do it? Because I think that's pretty.
Yeah. I mean, after having been close so many times, I knew, of course, that not much was missing. So, like, it wasn't a massive thing that was missing. I knew I could beat the girls that, Delphine or Sarah on occasions as well. Like, Sarah, obviously a bit more difficult, but she was not doing all the events. So that was helping in trying to get a tour win, that she was not doing all the events. Because, when most of the time when Sarah was doing the events, she's just dominating them. I mean, that's just for anyone watching. I mean, of course, now and then in the races, we also win. But in the end, most of the time.
Why do you think that is?
Well, of course, she's an extremely talented windsurfer. Like, she's not going to make a really, really good competitor. So, like, it's not like she doesn't know how to start or anything. But, of course, her size also matters. I mean, there's some photos of me and her next to each other. And I reach maybe around here of her with the top of my head. So, I guess that helps. Size matters a bit. What would you say, Maciek?
Yeah, for sure. Are we still talking about windsurfing here?
Yes. But you can evolve if you want.
Yeah. Let's stick to that. We'll talk about the other stuff off the record. Where size matters as well is the speed, and you had a pretty good taste of what it takes to chase the world record, and you've done a couple of years in Luderitz and like a full project. I think you were there with the whole team of filmers and whatever, and kind of a big thing. What do you remember from that experience, except for being in the desert for 2 months?
Yeah, I learned so much in this time. I was really lucky. So the first year I went together with Patrick Dietam, who had just also launched his own board brand a few years earlier that I was riding for. And he has so much experience also with Karin Yagi, who had the speed world record before. I don't know if she still had it at that time. But anyway, who had experience, of course, chasing it, and who was maybe more or less my height. So Patrick had like already shaped special boards for her that he also brought to Luderitz. And they were basically like, I don't even remember, 27 centimeter wide, or I think even down to 23 or something. Like really, really like a shoe, almost like a water ski with straps just on the one side, and really, really specially designed just to break a speed world record. And I think that's something normally a girl like me at the time would not be able to get her hands on easily, have like a pro shaper turn up with like this range of different kind of boards you can try on the speed canal, and like really coach you during the whole process as well. Because of course we flew together to Cape Town, and then we drove together to Namibia. So I had the chance to learn so much from Patrick, who was also chasing a speed record in Luderitz. So he coached me through the mental stuff of going fast and the sailing position, and we were tuning all the time the gear in the off days. So from, the battens to building a one-sided boom in the garage. Like he had taken everything you needed to like construct and change stuff on the equipment with him. So we had like all the carbon, epoxy, everything. Like he would even change like the shape of the boards like between the days. That was a very eye-opening experience. And for me it was my debut into speed sailing was in Luderitz. So that's kind of a interesting learning curve. I guess everybody else would probably maybe start on the ocean on a normal speed strip, but I really didn't have I think any of that before I went to Luderitz. Maybe a good thing also. So I mean the bitter pill was of course that I ended up being second. And it was really bitter actually, because my top speed was better. So I was feeling like, oh my God, I should get it. I was faster. I was like, better, like quite a bit faster. I think I had like 48 or something, 48.5 or something in top speed. And the average was just 45 point something. I mean, it was 0.09 difference to Zara Davies, who then took the world record for, a couple of years before it got broken. I think she's got it back now also, if I'm right.
Yeah.
But
is it like, what's the experience of flying down that canal? Is it scary? Is it like, I saw you use goggles, like is there a lot of sand flying? What's the, like, take us there,
it's this really crazy place in the middle of nowhere in the Namibian desert. So and they dug out this speed canal. They literally dug it out with a bagger next to a lagoon. So there's sand everywhere. And it's basically blowing like 50 knots quite regularly, which is why there's a speed challenge there, because we need really strong winds and at like the good angle. So when it's 50 knot blowing in the desert, you can imagine there's a lot of sand flying around. Like some days worse than others, but without the goggles, you constantly have sand in your eyes. So the goggles were really just for the sand. Like there's no way. Otherwise, you just can't really open your eyes. I think in the end, most people had goggles. I think I was maybe one of the first ones to have them, because I had these really cool ones with the Redbulls on the eyes. So it was kind of like a branding thing at the same time. But they were definitely useful. And then you go down this canal. You have like this tiny little pool where you can start on more of a reaching course. And then you go like full speed down the course downwind. You have to like slingshot around the corner. And the canal is like maybe 5 meters wide, or maybe less, maybe 4. I don't know. No, not very wide, basically. If you have a catapult on one side, you're probably going to end up on the sand on the other side. So I didn't really have that many big crashes. I didn't end up on the sand, only like in the end bit you have like a little bit of a wider pool again where you can slow down a bit, but not that much space either. So it's always like the riskiest part is always the slowing down part, where most people crashed as well. And how does it feel going down? Well, like really exciting, but you go like it's a channel, so it's almost like a tunnel, and on top of it you go into like a tunnel vision where like all you're focused on is like the water in front of you, and like if you're gonna get the gas, and you just look on the canal, the channel. You're completely in the tunnel, the canal channel, and try and go as fast as possible. After a while, it kind of becomes like chasing this lucky gust, because you need to have a good gust that takes you all the way, you know? Like as soon as you get a little bit less wind in the middle, you know, okay, fuck it, the record's gone. Because you're not just trying to go fast that day, you're chasing like the world record. Or you're not just beating the person that's gone just before you, but like you're beating everybody else who's ever tried to attempt it on any day. So it becomes tough when you know it. Oh shit, this one's probably not gonna make it. Like already halfway through, most of the time you knew. And sometimes you make it all the way down and it's really exciting. Like, oh my God, this was really fast. This could be it. This could be it. And then you have to go back up, and you basically, there's a guy sitting in this container, and he measures when you enter the canal and when you go out, like this 500-meter distance. He does it with like, I guess, a video recording. So just checks like how long did it take you from one point to the other, and then calculates the average speed over 500 meter. So you have to wait for him to verify the speed that you have on your 2 GPSs that you carry on your arms. There you get like your top speed and your 500 speed. But it could be that you had it like just before you entered the canal or just after this 500 meters. So like it's never sure that what you have on your GPS is like actually what you're going to get on the record. So this is what happened for my amazing top speed, where I was like, oh my God, it's probably it. And then in the end, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Will a girl break 50 anytime soon, you think?
It could be. Like if the right person goes and breaks it, I mean, I guess, again, size matters a bit. I am not the prototype of a speed sailor. If you look at all the guys who are going there, most of them are like 2-meter guys. They're anyway at least 90 kilo plus using weight. So, I mean, the heavier you are, the faster you're going to go. So if really talented, strong, big girl goes there with some extra weight and the perfect equipment, I don't see why they wouldn't break it.
Yeah, it's always funny to tell a person that doesn't windsurf why you have to be big to go fast. Because it's like almost counterintuitive, right? Because you should be taken faster by the gear if you're lighter, but it doesn't work that way. The amount of energy you can take from your sail into your board, that's how I always explain it, at least, that it has to go through your body, and the stronger, the bigger your body is, the faster you can go. I mean, it's funny.
Okay, now you're back. Sorry, I was frozen.
So we mentioned slalom, we mentioned speed, but you also had a bit of a wave sailing career that ended with that broken foot that that you said really derailed the slalom one. And you even did a freestyle event in Portugal on the PWA. What is it with you? Like, you just want to try shit, or the racing came so naturally and so easy that you're like, I can do it too? Or is it just the beauty of the waves and the real appeal that we all have? I think whoever windsurfs and tries wave sailing, it's like the thing, right? So what's up? Yeah. What's up with that?
So a bit of that, all of it. So when I first started, obviously Karen Yagi was world champion back then, and I saw like she was doing all the disciplines like slalom, speed, freestyle, wave, and like doing podiums on all of them. So this really impressed me, and I was like, wow, okay, like if you want to be really good, you need to be doing all the disciplines, and you need to be like a well-rounded windsurfer. And I could see how, like, being good in the waves would eventually feed into being good in slalom and just make you a better windsurfer overall. And then, after having been in the waves a few times, I just completely fell in love, of course, with wave sailing and just wanted to do more and more of it. And eventually, I started spending all my winters in Cape Town and, also going to Maui and that. And I kind of had to justify why I was doing so much wave sailing. And also I was feeling like, of course, have this competitive drive maybe, but also feeling that I had the level and wanted to compete a little bit. So after I learned how to forward loop and backward loop and felt like my cutbacks were looking all right, I thought, okay, now maybe if it fits in the PWA calendar with the slalom races, I can try and do some PWA events. And did a few, and didn't have any major ambitions either. It was more about, no pressure first event. Like, I wasn't going to go in and like have big expectations. So I just wanted to do well and like show what I could do and get some nice photos, spend some good times with the girls on tour. I mean, most of them I had met freesailing or on other competitions where we were together. So they were all friends, and it's a different atmosphere anyway for the wave sailing competition and the slalom competition. Because for the wave sailing, you kind of know you have your heat, you're going to be on at like a certain time, and the rest of the time you're kind of off. And with slalom, you're like morning till evening sitting on the beach, like ready at any time. Like if it's windy, you're competing the whole time, all day. So it's more like a holiday atmosphere when you're doing the wave events. For sure.
Yeah, the wave guys are gonna love that bit for sure. No, but it's also like, of
course, but if you're just doing one or two heats like I was doing, like I wasn't passing all my heats going to the next round, like I was doing it for fun. So it's a different, depends with which ambitions you're doing it. I'm not saying wave sailing is easy. I don't think they're going to misunderstand that.
No, but definitely there's something to be said about like going against your level. Like let's say you sail your best heat rather than you need to overtake that person like in a one-on-one fight. And I think having done like also like just a few events of waves, I saw a real big difference in the atmosphere on the beach as well. You know how competitive you are more competing against yourself in the waves. So does it get like in slalom and racing between the girls, does it get like super I don't know, do you guys pull your hair and stuff on the beach sometimes as well, like the guys do?
I mean, yeah, there's always some stuff. If there's some crashes, then of course there's always people who are going to be unhappy with each other. But personally, I didn't have that many bad situations like that. I know, like, some people, like, they just have it for each other, you know, and then like at every mark they will find that person and they will crash into each other, and it's going to go on forever. But there's no rules in PWA, so in the end you just learn to stay out of trouble, I guess. I mean, there's no other way. So you're not going to win a protest by telling the judges a story and the other person tells another. Like, that's not how it works. And in the end, you learn to deal with it. There's not no fights. Actually, definitely less fights than the guys, I guess.
Yeah, but give us a pair of girls that are like magnets, like the two sides of the of the same magnet.
I knew at some point Charla and Marianne Kaplas were always meeting each other at the marks and kind of had it out for each other. But I'm sure by now it's all in the past.
Okay, so no major. I thought you were gonna say like I don't know, like, you know, current world title contenders or whatever, Bad Blood and whatnot.
No. Actually, the better you get, like, the more control you have also. So I guess, like, when your level is less good, you're more easily doing a accidental crash, you know. And the better you get, like, you would have to do it almost on purpose, or like, you know, it's like because you did something that you probably shouldn't have tried because you were probably not going to make it, or you were hoping for the other person to avoid you and they didn't, and that's why, or some, you know. This
but in the guys it's kind of different. I don't know, take so much you have to, you're forced to take so much risk that in once in a while is going to backfire for sure. But moving on through all the disciplines with Lena Erdil, IQ foil coming in. And what does Lena do? She just drops everything and goes IQ foiling. And how's it going? Course racing. You said you hated big boards and course racing, and that IQ foil board, it doesn't even, I needed to make my racks in the van, like one shelf, I needed to make it bigger because that board is so big that it doesn't fit by thickness.
But it's not touching the water, so you don't feel like, you know, this horrible drag of the board and the water. I mean,
still
I love
need to carry it to the beach with the foil. It's like about 16 kilos or something. So
I guess that's why now I'm in the marina where I have to just put it on the ramp, and like it's really easy to go out like that. But so actually it's, you know, it started 2020, so last year, when I was going to make my huge comeback in slalom and was training full power, only slalom, not doing foiling, and like delaying it just so however much I possibly could to start foiling. And with the events being cancelled, then I was like, okay, well, actually my foot still really hurts when I'm slalom sailing. And then when I started foiling, I was like, oh, wow, my foot doesn't have any problems foiling. This is great.
No lower body work at all.
So it was feeling really good for my body, for my foot was not hurting. And I was living in Germany, so I went back I was in Hamburg, and my closest spot was also a lake. Gusty lake surrounded by trees with not much wind, so not like your ideal slalom conditions that you would want to go out and train slalom in. And I decided to give it a try with the IQ foil without any major ambitions yet, but just like receive the kit, like see how I get on, get into it a bit, just go with the flow, I didn't have any competitions for slalom to look forward to at that point anymore. So then in Germany, back in Kiel also, again, not really the kind of conditions I would want to go out regularly to slalom sail. And there was some other guys like Vincent and other northern German racers training on the foil a bit. So I joined in there. And I just really, I really also fell in love with foiling. I'd say it's great, and I like this the challenge of upwind racing, like having to make all these like tactical and strategic decisions, and obviously it's a new world to me. And then the first event in Silvaplana. And that was so cool to have so many girls racing at the first event already, despite Corona. It was over 60. And that was a new challenge. And you see wow, so many girls here, so many people I never knew, or, this exists. And I had a few successful moments in the race as well. I managed to do I think a couple of fourth places or something. So again, I proved to myself that maybe I have a little bit of potential also in this class. So I want to continue and see how far I can go,
Yeah. How is the Olympic atmosphere? It's very, very different, I think, than what you described. No, with the wave sailing and being on vacation. It's a lot more, it's a lot more strict, a lot more German, if you like. Now that you're competing for Germany. Yeah. So now it matches my numbers, my new lifestyle. But you talk so much about the social aspect and whatever, and it just doesn't really fit with that whole Olympic program. But let's see.
I don't know. At the moment, it fits because it's like you said, it's not. I'm having a good time on every session on the water, and we actually have a lot of girls training here in Lanzarote. We're training with the British regularly and some of the Spanish girls. We had a few French girls come out, like the RS6 girls from Poland were here and did a few races with us. And there was generally a good atmosphere on the water between us. And since it's still just training and it's a new discipline, I guess people are not so tunnel vision as probably they are right now in RS6 and focusing on the games. I guess it's these 4-year cycles where if you're still in the first year of a new discipline, everybody's still open and shares and wants to learn from each other, and the deeper you get into the new discipline is probably going to be more secretive. You're not going to want to share your little advantages, and I guess it's a good time to be in a new discipline.
Yeah.
And
So in 2024 you're gonna do the PWA slalom, wave, freestyle, and the Olympics. Yeah, is that correct?
No, if I continue down the Olympic road that I've started taking now, I probably stop for sure in 24, if not in 23, with the PWA on the side. I don't think I can, because I'm thinking, of course, about this, and I've already been second 3 times, third 2 or 3 times, just doing podiums regularly after training hard for them. So I don't want to do the PWA and not set out to be in the top. So I cannot just go IQ foiling the whole time and expect to get like a podium placement on the PWA. That's just not how it works, you know. You get what you give. That's just how it works in sport. If you don't prepare for it, you're not going to get the results you are looking for. So if I stop preparing for the PWA, like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm still going to do quite all right because I've been paying my hours into the training bank the previous 10 years, but I'm not going to, you know, do a top 3 probably. I mean, that's just not how it works. I'm kind of realist about what I can expect from what kind of training I do. So there's going to have to be a choice at some point. So either I train full time also for PWA and I do well, or like I accept that I might not get the results that I would want, or I just don't do it. So it's like an ego question as well, you know. Am I gonna like go out there without the proper preparation and like put myself into like, you know, not ideal starting conditions and still see kind of how I get on, or like am I not gonna start at all?
Yeah.
I don't know. With my foot, I kind of had my humbling experience already in 2019 where I had exactly this. So I was ready to compete again, or I windsurf again, just like 1 week before the first event. So going in without preparation and like, you know, putting myself into this non-ideal situation where I have to start not ready for the contest and compete and like, yeah, I don't know, I finished 5th, I think, which, yeah, was obviously not what I would ever aspire to, but at the time it was okay because I just had started windsurfing again. I hadn't prepared. I still had problems, so yeah. But I didn't, of course, enjoy that experience very much. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was not great. It was like, fuck, like, you know, I cannot do any better right now because I'm physically disabled, not ready, haven't trained enough, whatever. So I didn't enjoy competing like that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into what we're really here to talk about.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Just at the beginning of this year, I guess in January, the PWA announced that moving forward, the female and male fleets will have equal prize money. And you were involved in that heavily. So first of all, tell us how that went down and what was the push and what was the reasoning and how did you actually manage to pull it off?
Well, it was not my decision, you know. I'm just one out of 7 people on the board who make this decision.
On the PWA management board, just to clarify, because I think we didn't talk about that yet. Yeah. So I think it's just like a general movement, a global movement towards more equality in all different kinds of sports. I mean, surfing announced it 3 years ago, supping also 2 years ago, and like with windsurfing, the IWT announced it last year, and I guess with the PWA we're kind of behind this push towards more equality in sports. The IWT,
general.
You mean the $5,000 prize money that they have in their events is equal? Great.
Yeah, but you know, it's important because it's in the end, it's not about the money. It's about the philosophy. You know, it's about ethics. It's about equality and equal opportunity for everybody, no matter your gender or whatever the case. So, I mean, it was easy. I didn't have to do much of a convincing job. Of course, I had to mention it a few times, but in the end, it was clear that an organization like the PWA cannot continue having discriminating structures and not giving equal opportunity to men and women. So when we got this chance with Corona in the end, it was kind of like a chance that 1 year we didn't have events. So we're like kind of on hold. We had maybe time to reconsider how things are going, and you're not like stressed all the time from one event to the next to the others on the structure and what's going on in new events. And so you can reconsider the structures and what's in place. So I suggested that it might be a good time to change it, and everybody agreed. So it was very, very easy to change. It was just a good moment, you know.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked that it went through. It's such a great opportunity for all the girls growing up now. There's actually a bigger pool than ever, I think, among the different disciplines, also in wave sailing and in slalom. And these girls who are like maybe now 18, and they can really take advantage of this change.
Yeah. What do you say, just to play devil's advocate, as I do? What do you say? I had an ex-brand manager here on this podcast saying that some organizers might feel forced, you know, if they were organizing men-only events or whatever, which now is not, let's say, legal anymore. Well, by the PWA rules, right? Or they need to add more money or whatever, or they feel, you know, that's basically this brand manager suggested that some events might be lost because of that. What do you say to that?
Well, I think it's like a precondition for the sport to be fair and offer equal opportunities. And if that's like one of the preconditions for this to be in this way, then for me that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty straight answer. Okay. Do you feel like this is like that was the mission and now that mission is accomplished? Or do you feel a little bit like me that this is actually a small step in a much bigger subject, in a much bigger, because you say equal opportunity, but it's actually, it affects, it's more like, how you say, like the really, really good girls will benefit the most out of this, right? Not necessarily the ones that are just starting out. For sure, the goal is there and the vision, right? But yeah, so how do you feel in terms of that?
I think like small changes have happened over the years also. Like when I first started, it was only top 4 girls who were getting like free accommodation at the events and stuff like this, where it was like top 16 for the guys, or maybe even 20 in some cases. And
no,
so
12 or 16, never 20.
Yeah, okay, so we put that up to 6 or 8, which it does benefit a lot also the girls who are just coming up, and also the prize money is in the same way, you know. A girl who was finishing like maybe 5th or 6th was getting almost nothing, you know, and it's actually a really good result. And now if you actually get more prize money, then you can actually invest and, like, you know, believe in yourself and give yourself the chance to dream like a dream of being a pro windsurfer, and take it as a real career opportunity to be a professional athlete. So yeah, before that, it didn't exist. It was just not possible. There's so many girls who were at this level, like top 10 was almost nothing, you know. You can it didn't even make you dream of living that life, because it was nothing. You were not going to get industry support. You were not going to get prize money. Like, after a while, you just stop. So many girls stopped. It's,
but do you think that 2,000 euro of prize money moves the needle for a girl that is, let's say, top 10 and all over the tour? Let's say, yeah. Let's say. Yeah,
I think so. If you're young, this will make the difference. If you're just coming up, and you see, okay, now I can get 2, but then I could get 6 if I win. Then it makes it does make a difference, and it's just also a feeling, if you enter this tour where there's anyway more men, and you're all the time being treated like you're not worth the same as a guy. Like, it's just a really, really shit feeling to grow up with or be in this whole world. So I hope that the girls, the new girls in the next generation are not going to have to feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's like the equal prize money is just one part of, or like it's almost, of course, I cannot really say because I'm obviously not a girl, but for me, it's like why this situation happens is kind of like a supply demand type thing, right? And my idea always is to try to create more demand for girls' events and girls' windsurfing in general, right? So how do you see, because as you say, there's less girls, now you have similar prize money, but industry support is not the same, obviously. We know, I think we can share a story of a female world champion that demanded the same salary as a male world champion. And well, let's say she had to change her sponsorship to a different brand. So what are you thinking in terms of, just creating a better product as girls to be able to, just to improve the demand on women's windsurfing?
Yeah, I think it's something that's gonna happen also naturally now. Like I said, like, it's a shit feeling if you have to fight in a world where everybody thinks you're worthless or worth less than the guys, and you're not gonna get paid the same. Like, you have to fight. It's anyway a hard sport, and like, it's so much easier to give up if you have so many obstacles and if you just feel so unwelcome in this world. So whereas now, when it's hopefully going to be like a better atmosphere where you're going to know, wow, I have the same worth. And we also we didn't just change the prize money structure, we also changed the constructor ranking structure. So for those listeners who don't know what this is, the PWA World Tour has a ranking for the constructors. So the winners, so if, for example, Maciek wins with the FMX board, he's gonna get 5 points for FMX, and in the end, third place, second place, like, all have different points, and the brand with the most amount of points wins the constructors board ranking. And here also it was not equal. Like, I don't know, it was again like 1/3 or a quarter, or like it was less than half basically what a woman's placement was worth. So this was easier to change because obviously there was no money involved, and it obviously makes sense because like, if you're making a constructor's ranking, why shouldn't a woman be able to prove the board is better than a man? Like, it's exactly the same thing. And in the end, if the brands do value it, then maybe they are going to pay more to have a good rider on the female side to be able to get that ranking. I mean, not all the brands might care that much about this ranking, but I'm sure some brands do. So I hope that also will affect the brand sponsorship the girls are going to be able to get.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of ideas like, and I actually backed that idea in one of the meetings, and I think you are not too happy with me, that girls could race on like 2 or 3 cam sails, which are easier to handle, lighter, Probably better suited for a customer girl, let's say. You know, if a girl wants to go fast in her lake, that's probably better suited for her, and develop that gear. Have also, you know, like right now the R&D is done probably 90% by men. So have like almost a female, you know, line of sales, which could again drive the demand higher up. But this was rejected quite strongly. I think it never even reached a vote. That idea.
Yeah, I remember the idea. I think it would not be bad in theory, because it would be nice to create that. But obviously, like, all the brands would have to really pay women riders to develop equipment for women riders, and not just say, okay, now you're going to ride on a free ride sale or a free race sale that the guys developed. You know, it's like, okay, so now again, we're just going to get used as models for free ride gear instead of like believing in athletic excellence for the women, and us also pushing the limits of what's possible. And I don't know, I've sailed on free race sails. They are comfortable, but I still prefer sailing on like 4-cambered slalom sails. For me, they are just way better around a race course. Like, why would I want to downgrade myself?
Well, maybe to make more money, like you did with the like IQ foil. Let's face it, is not high performance. Is not the most high performance thing. If you put this thing against Formula foil, will probably get lapped or something. So, you know, there is, but it's the same for everyone. So here it will be the same Olympic, for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Olympic.
But
why does that change? Why does that change anything that it's Olympic? I mean,
because Olympic class is like one design class, and the PWA is all about, you know, finding the best high performance equipment and getting the most out of it. It like kind of would go against this idea, you know, of being the pinnacle of the sport.
Not necessarily, because I'm saying we as in PWA, but what I meant is that when slalom was originally there, it was custom gear, and it was, like you say, it was the pinnacle, was the Formula One, you know. Now we're on production gear, which is much more accessible. So it was a step back, and this was an argument against that step. I'm not like hell-bent on 3-cam sails for girls, but I'm just thinking that that we should try to find a way to create more demand. This is what so market the girls separately in a different manner. I don't know what it is. I honestly haven't spent so much time thinking about it, but for sure there has to be a way to actually, you know, market the sport as a different sport rather than, like you say, as a worse version of the same sport, right? So I think that's the key. But hopefully, like you say, hopefully the equal prize money will help a little bit. So I don't know. It's a long discussion, but it's interesting because it's I think it's a case, you know, of marketing, of you know, need to create a new product. And I always get pissed because the guys there we are also not thinking that way, you know, to create a product that will actually sell. Everybody's always thinking about their own interest and how to win and whatever, rather than, so yeah. Okay, enough moaning. Anything else you want to add on the equal prize money thing?
No, I'm just really stoked it finally happened, and I'm excited for the future. Like, I don't have any doubts that it will be an improvement.
Yeah. Okay, now you also see maybe the other side a little bit. You mentioned the constructors ranking and whatever. You work, I don't know, part-time or full part-time, I guess, for Starboard. How did that change your perspective on the industry that you were a part of for such a long time already?
Yeah, I work on the marketing team at Starboard, so I get to look a little bit on the other side of the of the coin. Let's see, like whereas before I was just a rider. Now I see more what the riders are getting paid for, what are the expectations, and I feel like maybe sometimes it's like there's a little disconnect between riders and the brands of like, you know, what's expected of them and yeah.
So what is it? What is it? Tell me. Give me hard data.
Well, you know, there's different kind of riders. Maybe some riders are more the kind of riders that are paid to get into the magazines, or because they have a great connection with a lot of people and are teaching, or some riders are maybe just paid to deliver results. And for them, the brands sometimes close an eye if they are not always writing articles in magazines or producing videos the whole time. So, like, you know, it's
they don't have time, maybe.
Yeah, because they have to train, and that's okay. But like, I guess more and more is expected of athletes. So even if you are one of those top riders who are mainly paid to deliver results, you're still going to be expected to be nice and do interviews and deliver photos and videos on multiple occasions in the year.
Yeah, I feel like it goes hand in hand though, because when you don't have any results, nobody wants to even talk to you, you know? So it's almost, I almost felt many times that it's the opposite of what you're saying, that actually the guys with the results were getting a lot of coverage, and there were some guys and girls that maybe have an interesting story to tell, but don't really have a platform to tell that story. You know what I mean? Where in different sports, like in surf sports, activities, let's say, because sports is probably all about performance. Other activities like, I don't know, like surfing, there's free surfers, there's, like you say, like these travel stories and all that stuff. So, okay. So now you're on the marketing team and you actually evaluate, you try to evaluate marketing value of a rider.
I mean, luckily, I'm not involved with doing any contracts. I wouldn't want to be in the position of having to, you know, do these deals, because, of course, I'm still a rider. But, like, you know, it's not a big science to see who's doing a lot and who's not doing that much. But it's always not also, the riders don't have the same expectations. So,
yeah, but how do you measure? How do you measure a Vice World Championship versus 30,000 YouTube subscribers or whatever? How do you evaluate that? You know.
Well, like in the end, you have to look how many boards you sell, and that's part of a bigger thing. You know, it's kind of hard to say we sold this many boards because Matteo Iachino won, or because Nico Preen joined the team, because in the end you don't know which one has really had the bigger effect, you know. It's like part of a bigger picture. Maybe it's because of the two together, you know, that made the huge impact. It's not like one or the other. It's like a whole, you know. I don't think you can say it's only because of this or only because of that. It's like you have to work on all the different fronts. And then in the end, you paint the big picture and you can see a successful result.
No, for sure. I know how this works, but I'm trying to get into how do you evaluate which direction to take? Because as you say, without even just basic stuff like the product is not falling apart, or the product is good in general, is user friendly, is whatever, without good importers, you don't sell, the numbers will not back up. You can have the best marketing and whatever, but if you're not in the shop or not, you know, you're not going to sell. But I'm just talking about pure marketing, you know, and it seems like you know, like you say, you try to weigh those things. And I always wonder if there is a mathematical or I don't know, like it's something you can put in an Excel sheet to try to weigh the value of certain activities,
I think no major Excel calculations are being done by any of the brands. I mean, in the end, it's. I think it comes also down to some emotional decisions, like sympathies, like relationships, like in everywhere. You're not always evaluating all the candidates for a certain job on Excel spreadsheets. You're probably gonna, meet them, talk to them, see if you think they're gonna work as part of the team, and then make the decision. So I think it's not any different. There's definitely no Excel sheet calculations going on, I doubt, in any of the brands.
Yeah. You see yourself.
They're very German, so
yeah.
Ask them.
Yeah.
I'll take next time.
Yeah, I don't know there either. You see yourself working for a brand in the future full time? Is it fun? Like working for a windsurfing brand, or does it take away the beauty element of the sport and turn it into a work?
No, I really enjoy it. I'm having a great time at Starboard, especially because it's such a nice team, and the owner, manager of the brand, Sven Rasmussen, is still so involved, and you can see like his passion in all he does. And the greatest part about Starboard is, of course, the whole environmental side, and how that's like really at the center of everything we're doing at Starboard. Like, that we're always trying to push, the cleaning up of the beaches, the planting of the mangroves, like having a positive impact on the planet. And like that, it's just like, one part of the business is, of course, like making the best boards and like telling and being great at marketing or whatever. But the other part is also like having a lasting positive impact on the planet, which is the part I really like in Starboard. And I don't know, when I was thinking about like, what do I want to do with my life in the future after I eventually stop windsurfing with my gold medal in the Olympics, I was thinking that, of course, I would like to work in a job that I believe in, and that my skill set would be applied well, and where I can have a positive impact on the planet. So I think with a brand like Starboard, I could feel good about myself, my future self.
Yeah. Talking about sponsors, that Starboard from sponsor became kind of your employer as well. You had the holy grail of sponsorship in sports. Before it was extreme sports, now it's mainstream sports as well. You had a sausage company sponsoring you.
No.
Or you still do. Or you still do? No, there was something, no, like some sauce, Wurstchen. Something.
Yeah, I am sponsored. It's my Salzbrenner Würstchen. They are a Hamburg-based sausage company, and they are still my sponsor. They're actually sponsoring the whole Olympic team of my sailing club in Hamburg. So all of the Olympic athletes have the same sticker in the sail, and I also met the owner. And I just think it's really cool how somebody like that gets involved with the sport, like sailing, and just decides to sponsor all these great athletes financially, and put the logo out there. Now now even you are gonna remember Salzbrenner Würstchen.
Salzbrenner.
No, but of course.
and you don't mind, one extra question on the Würstchen, and you don't mind that the environmental impact of creating sausages is not exactly carbon net positive.
I'm just gonna have to plant more mangroves. Just gonna leave that out there. But I'm not vegan or vegetarian. yet.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be very hypocritical to not say that it's bad to produce if I'm eating it. So I cannot blame them. So I don't know.
No, the holy grail I was mentioning is obviously Red Bull. And I thought before your case, I was quite sure that if you're sponsored for Red Bull, it's for life. What happened there?
Well, I was actually really shocked when I found out that because I also thought it was quite a safe sponsorship that was already going on for I think 8-9 years. That I was sponsored by Red Bull. I really didn't expect it, but I just had the foot injury. I'd just done rehab also in Austria with them really supporting me a lot. But then I moved to Germany, and when I was in November in Turkey, they invited me in the office and told me, well, we're not going to continue the sponsoring. I was really shocked. I really did not expect that, and didn't really see it coming. But now looking at it again, I guess I should have seen it coming, because they were unhappy with me not being in Turkey, because obviously it was Red Bull Turkey, and I was supposed to promote the drink on the Turkish market, and I had basically not been in Turkey for a long time, and had moved my apartment to Germany. So it makes sense. But I kind of just wish I had been told, because I had asked them multiple times if it would be okay to swap to German numbers. And there they were like, no, we don't want that. And I didn't think that moving to Germany would, if I still kept my numbers, would affect them in that way. But it did.
Yeah.
So then I kind of thought, okay, maybe I can get in with Red Bull Germany. But in the end, it didn't work out, because in Germany, they already have Philipp, and windsurfing is just a small sport, and they don't need more than one athlete and stuff like this. But, well.
Yeah, it's being part of it was being part of the Red Bull family, really, like everybody kind of mentions it, like it's part of being the Red Bull family, that you are really connected to Red Bull. You said you rehabbed at the headquarters in Austria, and that they really take care of you, and that regardless of what you're getting paid, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah, you definitely feel taken care of. It is like a family. It's like, that you can rely on them to help you when you're in trouble, or support you if you have a big project that you want to do that is interesting for them. So I don't know, when I broke my foot in the Canaries, I called my athletes manager in Red Bull in Turkey, and the next morning I had a flight. Everything was organized for me. They brought me back to Turkey, and so it is really, really a great company to be sponsored by when you're an athlete. That's
so no hard feelings still.
I would never badmouth them. I had a really, really great time, and I'm thankful for the years we had together.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if you remember this situation, but I remember you coming to Tenerife here to train, with 20 new Z fins, and I'm like, holy fuck, Lena, how did you pay for this? And you're like, I didn't. Red Bull did. Okay.
Yeah, so I had many good things came from the sponsorship. They for sure had a big impact into making me the athlete I was, and helping me also push myself. Whereas, maybe I was more the kind of person that was all about the experience and having fun, and doing many different things. Red Bull would always push the competitive side. So that's also maybe why I had to justify wavesailing all the time by starting to compete, or doing a crazy speed challenge that was also obviously sponsored by Red Bull and all this stuff. So I'm really glad for this, having had this sponsorship in my career.
Yeah. Ending on a bit of a sad note, sorry there, but had to ask you about it. Not sad,
Oh,
but
it's okay.
yeah.
Now it's a new chapter. I mean, for me, that was I'm really a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and Red Bull telling me that because I moved to Germany, they could not support me anymore. For me, made it finally possible to swap to German numbers. And now I'm part of the German national team, and I'm in a German sailing club, and I'm really well connected in Germany.
And you got the sausage sponsor, which is the most important.
And I got a sausage sponsor. Yeah. I'm ready for the next chapter. No hard feelings with Red Bull, and really happy that I was able to then take the next step and change to German numbers, and now maybe represent Germany in the Olympics one day.
Yeah. Okay, we know you gotta run because it's windy and you gotta train.
Yeah. Training already late. My coach is gonna tell me off. See, okay. I have a coach now, Maciek. I have a coach. We didn't even get to talk about this part.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to train with a coach.
Well, yeah. Just quickly, our quickfire questions to end.
Okay.
What are your pet peeves?
My best what?
Your pet peeves. Shit, is that really not like you studied in England and nobody knows what it is, and you change those questions, I think. Something that annoys you, that kind of, almost on a physiological level.
Lying.
Okay. And how many times a day do you pee your wetsuit?
Oh, depends.
I've been told like many years ago that girls don't do it, but then Sarah Kita straightened me out. She's like, no.
Yeah, we drink also. Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Maybe Netflix at the moment.
So what are you binge watching right now?
Right now, Sense8.
Jesus.
It's a bit long. It's not that great. I wouldn't say it's binge watching right now, but like, it's when I know I should be doing something else, and like I'm just too tired to work, and then I put a Netflix, and then I feel guilty for doing Netflix. So I guess that's the definition of a guilty pleasure.
Definitely, yes. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I guess like beaming me somewhere from one place to another would be great.
Yeah, teleportation. Your top 5 windsurfers of all time.
Oh, so already I mentioned Karen. I would have to say also Sarah Kita and Ibaya and Daida. So that's already 4. Who's gonna make the 5th spot? Who's my favorite from the guys? I don't know.
Make sure you put a starboard rider.
No, that's something else.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't wanna commit there. I will keep these 4.
Yeah. Most underrated windsurfer of all time. You're not a windsurf geek like me or whatever, so maybe you don't have one.
Yeah.
But
underrated. Oof. I don't know. I would have to do it for like all the different disciplines, no? Or you want like overall?
No, just one that comes to mind that maybe, deserves way more credit and attention.
Don't know.
Skip that. Obstacles in slalom, yes or no? Good for your foot.
I would say Maybe yes.
Okay.
Would be fun.
Beach starts, yes or no?
Oh God, I personally hate them. So no.
You don't like running?
I don't like running with my gear and
Yeah. One spot you'd have to sail every day for the rest of your life.
Hookkeeper was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I guess you're always gonna have a challenge every day, no matter how many days you sail there.
Yeah, it'll keep us definitely fun. Worst check-in story?
Oh, so many. But the worst is when they tell you, once in Brussels, they actually told me I couldn't fly with the stuff. Like that's, I mean, I guess it happens more than once, but for me it happened only once, and couldn't fly. I just didn't take it.
Yeah.
So
best check-in story when you were, this is especially for you because I know you were sponsored, I think, by Turkish Airlines, right? So what, you just rock up to the airport, how many bags you want, here's your first class ticket, see you later.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I had some pretty dreamy check-ins. I mean, especially in flying from Bodrum. It's like a smaller airport in my hometown in Turkey. So all the people in the airport already know me. So I almost don't have to even show the stuff anymore. So I just give even the people carrying my bags know me there. So it's pretty sweet to check in from Bodrum every time.
Yeah, celebrity status.
Yeah.
Never. Okay, who's your worst competitor?
Delphine, I definitely say. Or what do you mean with worst?
Yeah,
just
hardest or tough.
Hardest?
Yeah. Delphine Couson-Castel. You get $1 million in cash and you need to spend it within an hour. What do you get?
Big sailing catamaran. I don't even know. Actually, million's probably not going to be enough for that one.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe Bitcoin or something that I can get more quickly.
It's risky. That's risky. You might never see that money ever again. But
I don't know, probably make some phone calls, try and get some investment people to give me the best possible advice, and then just try and make it more so I can get that big catamaran.
Yeah. Last but not least, who would you like to hear on this podcast?
I missed quite a few, actually. I have to catch up. Maybe it needs to become my next guilty pleasure. But maybe did you have already any of the Moreno twins or Karen?
I'm trying. Karen will be on very, very soon. I think we're recording this week. And the Moreno twins, I have DM'd, emailed, WhatsApped, Skyped, Zoomed. I don't know what other means of communication there is, but yeah, it's a little uphill there.
Okay.
I don't know if they're busy or
it's movie coming out, so maybe that's your chance.
That should be. I would love to have them on for sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, Karen is one of the big legends of the sports. You interviewed a lot of the legends of the sport, so that would be cool to have her.
Karen's hard to interview because I've asked around. There is absolutely zero dirt on her. You know, she's so nice and so professional and whatever. That it's gonna be tricky. But
I heard there was some speech that she once had in Fuerte that had a bad reception or something, which maybe it was already about this equal prize money stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can ask her about that, and you can ask her also about how it feels to see that this finally happens after so many years of having to live in this really male-dominated world where you're always being told you're less.
Come on, nobody ever told you you're less. I mean,
many times actually.
no,
But
I've never heard it. But maybe you need to be, you need to have your radar on it to hear it. Maybe that's why, But
no. It was pretty obvious. Multiple occasions, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What a note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lena. I let you go so you can run pumping your IQ foil, and
it's around 25 knots. It's not going to be much pumping today. Luckily.
Come on, 10 pumps of the start at least.
Okay, yeah, maybe that.
Okay, I see you around on tour, and take care. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
see you around.
Bye.
Bye.
So there we go. That's Lena's story. A really interesting podcast once again. Are they getting better and better, these things? I reckon so. If you think so and you're looking forward to them every week, how about you chip in some beer money? Support the channel. Make it easier to let us bring you the podcast, if I can get my words out. And give us a thumbs up, like in the comments below. Let us know who else you want to see on the podcast. We have got a lot in the pipeline. It's not always easy to get them, but we are getting there slowly. It's always good to hear who you want to see, though. So let us know, and we'll see you for the next one next week.